Lesson number 14, Chemical Effects of Electric Currents. Your elders might have cautioned you against touching an electrical appliances with wet hands, but do you know why it is dangerous to touch an electrical appliances with wet hands? We have learnt earlier that the materials which allow electric current to pass through them are good conductors of electricity. On the other hand, materials which do not allow electric current to pass through them easily are poor conductors of electricity. In class 6, we made a tester to test whether a particular material allows the electric current to pass through it or not. Do you recall how the tester helped us in deciding that? We found that metals such as copper and aluminum conduct electricity, whereas materials such as rubber, plastic, and wood do not conduct electricity. However, so far we have used our testers to test materials which were in solid state. But what about liquids? Do liquids also conduct electricity? Let us find out. 14.1. Do liquids conduct electricity? To test whether a liquid allows electric current to pass through it or not, we can use the same tester. However, replace the cell by a battery. Also, before using the tester, we should check whether it is working or not. Activity 14.1. Join the free ends of the testers together for a moment. This completes the circuit of the testers and the bulb should glow. However, if the bulb does not glow, it means that the testers is not working. Can you think of the possible reason? Is it that the connections are loose, or the bulb is fused, or your shell are used up? Check all the connections are tight. If they are made, then replace the bulb with another bulb. Now test if the tester is working or not. If it is still not working, then replace the cell with fresh shell. Now that our tester is working, let us use it to test the various liquids. Activity 14.2. Collect a few small plastic or rubber caps of discarding bottles and clean them. Pour on 1 teaspoon of lemon juice or vinegar in 1 cup. Bring your testers over these caps and let the ends of the testers dip in lemon juice or vinegar as shown in 14.2. Take care that the ends are not more than 1 centimeter apart, but at the same time do not touch each other. Does the bulb of the testers glow? Does lemon juice or vinegar conduct electricity? How would you classify lemon juice or vinegar, a good conductor or a poor conductor? When the liquid between the two ends of the testers allow the electric current to pass, the circuit of the testers becomes complete. The current flows in the circuit and the bulb glows. When the liquid does not allow the electric current to pass, the circuit of the testers is not complete and the bulb does not glow. In some situations, even though the liquid is conducting, the bulb may not glow. It may have been happened in activity 14.2. What can be the reason? Do you remember why the bulb glows when the electric current passes through it? Due to the heating effect of the current, the filament of bulb gets heated to a high temperature and it starts glowing. However, if the current through a circuit is too weak, the filament does not get heated sufficiently and it does not glow. And why is the current in the electric current circuit weak? Well, though a material may conduct electricity, it may not conduct it as easily as a metal. As a result, the circuit of the tester may be complete and yet the current through it may be too weak to make the bulb glow. Can we make another testers which can detect a weak current? We can use another effect of an electric current to make another kind of testers. Do you recall that electric current produces a magnetic effect? What happens to the compass needle kept nearby when current flows in a wire? Even if the current is small, the deflection of the magnetic needle can be seen. Can we make a tester using the magnetic effect of current? Let us find out in activity 14.3. Activity 14.3. Take the tray from inside a discarded matchbox. Wrap an electric wire a few times around the tray. Place a small compass needle inside it. Now connect one end of the wire to the terminal of a battery. Leave the other hand free. Take another piece of wire and connect it to the other terminal of the battery. Join the free ends of two wires momentarily. The compass needle should show deflection. Your testers with two free ends of the wire is ready. Now repeat activity 14.2 using these testers. Do you find a deflection in the compass needle the moment you dip the free ends of the testers in lemon juice? Take out the end of the testers from the lemon juice, dip them in water and then wipe them dry. Repeat the activity with other liquids such as tap water, vegetable oil, milk, honey. In each case, observe whether the magnetic needles show deflection or not. Record your observation in table 14.1. From table 14.1, we find that some liquids are good conductors of electricity and some are poor conductors. Actually, under certain conditions, most materials can conduct. That is why it is preferable to classify materials as good conductors and poor conductors instead of classifying as good conductors and insulators. We have tested the conduction of electricity through tap water. Let us now test the conduction of electricity through distilled water. Activity 14.4. Take about 2 teaspoonfuls of distilled water in a clean and dry plastic or rubber cap of a bottle. Use the tester to test whether distilled water conducts electricity or not. What do you find? Does distilled water conduct electricity? Now dissolve a pinch of common salt in distilled water. Again test. What do you conclude this time? When salt is dissolved in distilled water, we obtain salt solution. This is a conductor of electricity. The water that we get from sources such as taps, hand pumps, wells and ponds is not pure. It may contain several salt dissolved in it. Small amounts of mineral salts are naturally present in it. This water is thus a good conductor of electricity. On the other hand, distilled water is free of salt and is a poor conductor. We have found that common salt, when dissolved in distilled water, makes it a good conductor. What are the other substances which, when dissolved in distilled water, make it conducting? Let us find out. Activity 14.5. Take 3 clean plastic or rubber caps of bottles. Pour about 2 teaspoonfuls of distilled water in each of them. Add a few drops of lemon juice or dilute hydrochloric acid to distilled water in one cap. Now in the second cap containing distilled water, add a few drops of a base such as caustic soda or potassium iodide. Add a little sugar to the distilled water in the third cap and dissolve it. Test whether which solutions conduct electricity and which do not. What result do you obtain? Most liquids that conduct electricity are solutions of acids, bases, and salts. When an electric current flows through a conducting solution, does it produce an effect on the solution? 14.2 Chemical effects of electric current. In class 8, we have learned some effects of electric currents. Can you list these effects? What effect does the current produce when it flows through a conducting solution? Let us find out. Activity 14.6. Take out carbon rods carefully from 2 discarded cells. Clean their metal caps with sandpaper. Wrap copper wires around the metal caps of the carbon rods and join them a battery. When we call these 2 rods electrodes, pour a cupful of water in a glass or plastic bowl. Add a teaspoonful of salt or a few drops of chemical lemon juice to water to make it more conducting. Now immerse the electrodes in this solution. Make sure that the metal caps of the carbon rods are outside the water. Wait for 3 to 4 minutes. Observe the electrodes carefully. Do you notice any glass bubbles near the electrodes? Can we call the change taking place in the solution a chemical change? Recall the definition of chemical change that you have learnt in class 8. The passage of an electric current through a conducting solution causes chemical reaction. As a result, bubbles of gas may be formed on the electrodes. Deposit of metal may be seen on electrodes. Changes of electrodes of solutions may occur. The reaction will depend on what solution and electrodes are used. These are called some of the chemical effects of the electric current. 14.3 Electroplating. You know that a brand new cycle has shining handlebar and wheel rims. However, if these are accidentally scratched, the shiny coating comes off, revealing a not so shiny surface beneath. You might have also seen women using ornaments which appeared to be made of gold. However, with replace use, the gold coating wears off, revealing silver or some other metal beneath. In both of these cases, a metal has a coating of another metal. Do you wonder how a layer of one metal can be deposited on top of other? Well, let us try doing it ourselves. Activity 14.7. We will need copper sulfate and two copper plates of size around 10 cm into 4 cm. Take 250 ml of distilled water in a clean and dry breaker. Dissolve 2 teaspoonfuls of copper sulfate in it. Add a few drops of dilute sulfuric acid to copper and sulfate solution to make it more conducting. Clean copper plates with sandpaper. Now resin them with water and dry them. Connect the copper plates to the terminal of a battery and immerse them in a copper sulfate solution. Allow the current to pass for about 15 minutes. Now remove the electrodes from the solution and look at them carefully. Do you find any difference in any of them? Do you find a coating over it? What coloring is the coating? Note down the terminal of battery which this electrode is connected. When electric current is passed through the copper sulfate solution, copper sulfate dissociates into copper and sulfate. The free copper gets drawn to the electrode connected to the negative terminal of the battery and gets deposited on it. But what about the loss of copper from the solution? From the other electrode, a copper plate and equal amount of copper gets dissolved in the solution. Thus, the loss of copper from the solution is restored and the process continues. This means that copper gets transferred from one electrode to the other. The process of depositing a layer of any desired metal on another metal by means of electricity is called electroplating. It is one of the most common applications of chemical effects of electric current. Electroplating is a very useful process. It is widely used in industry for coating metals objects with a thin layer of a different metal. The layer of metal deposits had some desired property which the metal of the some objects lack. For example, chromium plating is done on many objects such as car parts, bath taps, kitchen gas burners, bicycle handles, wheel rims, and many others. Chromium has a shiny appearance. It does not corrode. It resists scratches. However, chromium is expensive and it may not be economical to make the whole object out of chromium. So the object is made from a cheaper metal and only a coating of chromium over it is deposited. The jewelry makers electroplate silver and gold on less expensive metals. These ornaments have the appearance of silver gold but are much less expensive. Tin cans used for storing food are made by electroplating tin onto iron. Tin is less reactive than iron, thus food does not come in contact with iron and protected from getting spoiled. Iron is used in bringing and automobiles to provide strength. However, iron tends to corrode and rust. So a coating of zinc is deposited on iron to protect it from corrosion and formation of rust.